Now it's safe to say the summer season movie has officially started, and in honor of that, my favorite season of the entire year, I put together my personal top 10 favorite summer movies of all time. Now in order for this to qualify as a summer movie, it has to be released between May 1st and August 30th. So let's get to it. Now my number 10 choice, it's kind of a guilty pleasure. If I see it on TV, I'm gonna watch it. And I'm talking about The Rock. That was released June 7th, 1996. And it was directed by Michael Bay back when he was still good. Before he was CGing every little thing you see on screen. Before he was copying and remaking other people's work. But what really made this movie good was the chemistry between Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. They did an amazing job playing off of each other, and the music by Hans Zimmer just elevates this to a whole new level, so it's something that I feel everyone should definitely check out. Now my number 9 choice, it's a must to be on this list for me personally, and that's the original Friday the 13th, released May 9th, 1980. Now this started off as your typical slasher film with just some teens in the woods getting hacked up one by one, but then it totally flips, and the person the movie was setting up to be the killer is not the killer. And I really like that aspect. This is a horror movie done well. It's something that we don't see nowadays, and I really hope that Hollywood goes back to doing movies like this. Now my number 8 choice, it's a very personal choice for me. It's Bowfinger, released August 13th, 1999. Now this movie is all about a B director trying to make a big Hollywood movie, and it's something that I can relate to, and I know that a lot of you can relate to also. And what I get now that I didn't get when I was younger is that they parody Scientology and Tom Cruise. Eddie Murphy's character is a straight up parody of Tom Cruise. It's hilarious now that I get the jokes. And the writing by Steve Martin is amazing and natural, and everyone in this movie pulls it off perfectly. My number 7 choice, it's a classic. It's a must-see for everyone on the planet. And I'm talking about Psycho, released June 16th, 1960. Now, what this movie did great that a lot of movies can't do even today is it starts off with one story. But then half an hour later, that story is completely gone and you're following something else. Not many movies can do that. Alfred Hitchcock did it perfectly. And also the performances, especially Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates. He did such a creepy job doing this, and every time I see this movie, every time he speaks, I get chills. Now my number 6 choice is a movie that's on this list mainly because the new one's coming out this month. And that's The Hangover, released May 30th, 2009. Now this movie, when it was first being promoted, I didn't care much about it. I thought it was just going to be another one of those raunchy comedies that has a couple of good jokes, but then the rest just fails. It's not funny. But when this movie came out, when I saw it, it totally surprised me. I was laughing my ass off the entire time. All the hijinks that these characters get into is hilarious, and it keeps you attached to this movie till the very end of it. It's something everyone has to see if you enjoy comedy. Now we're getting into my top 5. These are the movies I can go back to and watch over and over and never get tired from them at all. But my number 5 choice is kind of a controversial one, mainly because it had 3 different release dates. It was first released in Australia on December 4th, 1980. Then it finally came out in the UK on April 9th, 1981, and finally in North America on June 1st, 1981. I classify this as a summer movie mainly because it came out in June in North America. So I would have saw it in June if I was alive back then. But what was really great about this movie is it was a superhero movie that was character driven. Superman, Clark Kent goes through so many changes. Lois Lane goes through a bunch of changes, and you normally don't see that with the leading lady in a superhero movie. She normally just stands there and screams for help the entire movie. She changes a lot. Now the person who stole this show was Terrence Stamp as General Zod. He was extremely menacing and badass. every time I see a villain nowadays, I'm most likely gonna end up comparing him to General Zod in the 1981 Superman 2 movie. Now my number 4 choice is one of the first movies I saw in theaters, and that's Men in Black, released July 1st, 1997. What was great about this movie was Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones's chemistry together. You had Will Smith, who is this big and large and over-exaggerating everything what he normally does, but it worked perfectly with Tommy Lee Jones, who's cool and calm the entire movie. It was perfect. You never hear Tommy Lee Jones scream anything. And also Rick Baker's makeup. When they finally go into MIB and you see all the different aliens, you can't help but go, that's cool. That's awesome. Whoa, hey, yeah. You just wanted to see a movie about these background characters. Not many movies can do that where you're paying attention to the background characters. And I really liked that. It was fun. So it's a movie that everyone should definitely check out. My number 3 choice is definitely a must that has to go on anyone's list. And that's Jurassic Park. Released June 9th, 1993. Now what was really great about this movie is they brought dinosaurs to life. It's one of the first movies to have CGI with actors, like actors are interacting with a CG character. And they did it perfectly. There are movies nowadays that cannot hold up to that. I've seen movies this year, I'm watching the CGI and I'm just sitting there going, nope, that's shit. I watched Jurassic Park and I'm looking at these dinosaurs walking around and I'm just like, yeah, that's awesome. Now we are into my top 2 choices. Now I had a really hard time picking my top 2 choices. I didn't know which one should go first, which one should go second. I ultimately decided on which one I've watched more. Now my number 2 choice is Star Wars A New Hope. That was released May 25th, 1977. I probably wasn't even a thought in my parents' mind back then. But this movie was perfect. It took that average Joe, regular guy storyline and it made it cool, it made it fun. And that was like a dying thing back then. The whole sci-fi thing was a dying thing back then. Star Wars came out and everyone wanted to do a sci-fi movie. Everyone was ripping off Star Wars. And not many movies can impact on culture like that. People still love it today. There are still cults and fanboys and all that stuff just for Star Wars. And it's another one of those movies where people want to see a movie about a background character. You're looking at the background, just like in Men in Black, saying, that thing is cool. I want to see a movie about that thing. That alien, that character. And it's a great movie. Now, my number 1 choice, I've watched it a million times, I'll watch it a million more times, and I'll never get bored of it. And that is Raiders of the Lost Ark. Released June 12th, 1981. Now this movie took archaeology, something you only watch in like history class and you were bored by it, and they made it fun, they made it cool, and it was entertaining. Not many movies can do that. They had perfect casting with Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. I cannot see anyone else in this role but him, and I know they weren't even planning on taking him. So the fact that he made it so iconic and made it so loved just makes it even more awesome for me. This movie is so entertaining. The music, the action. They took that whole B-movie thing that you normally see before feature back in the 40s and they made it the feature. You don't see that nowadays. And it's something everyone has to check out. Now in the comments, let me know, what are your top 10 favorite summer movies of all time? And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Alex knows stuff.